Let's take a walk on the Peace River Trail. Lead you along the banks of Paynes Creek to the Peace River. Exploring here in the woods, and this is a sinkhole formation, it appears, and it's filled in with water. You can see it here. This opened up some time ago. Just some of the features in this area by the river. And these swamp floodplains. Now this is incredible. Out here in the wilderness by Peace River. Paynes Creek is just over here. Connects into the river. It's beautiful here, peaceful. Listening to the birds, observing the wildlife. There's some alligators over here. It's basking in the sun. Let's take a walk around the area here. Look at this. Now there was a fort and a trading post built out in this area during the 1800s and 1840s. During the Seminole Indian Wars, there was a lot of tensions here between the settlers and the Native American Indians. In 1849, the trading post was attacked by the natives. This trail leads you by the area. Oh, right over there, in that area, I believe was the site of the trading post. Fort was close by, but somewhere in this general area of the woods. Here is a monument by the river dedicated to the memory of Captain George S. Payne, age 32 years old. And also this monument is dedicated to D. Whidden. I think that's what it says there. I'm not sure, it's cracked there. So both were killed by a party of Seminole Indians on the evening of the 17th day of July, 1849. Out here exploring these trails in the woods here, and it's really interesting. This may have been one of the old roads used back in the days when the trading post was out here. Some of the interesting history in the area. There's an opening here, and this area is a little higher up than the surrounding areas here in the woods, so this may have been where some of the site was, the trading post. Alright, we explored around some of the trails here, and let's take a look at the visitor center, the history museum here at the park. Kennedy Darling store was the trading post here. During the Second Seminole War, some 3,000 Indians were removed from Florida by various means. When hostilities were declared to be at an end in 1842, the remaining Seminoles were granted use of 2 and 1.5 million acre hunting and planting reserves in Florida. 400 Indian men and women and children lived in scattered villages from Lake Simi to the Big Cypress Swamp. On the evening of July 17, 1849, Indians opened fire on 3 store clerks as they sat down to supper. George Payne and Dempsey Whidden were killed instantly. There's a map showing the various forts during the Seminole Indian Wars. The 6-pound cannon. This was one of several types of artillery used by the U.S. Army in the mid-1800s. The gun and carriage weighed a ton. The limber had a detachable ammunition chest that also served as a seat for the gunners. The assembled gun carriage and limber were pulled by 4 to 6 horses and served by 7 to 9 men. Chief of the Seminoles. The Seminoles in Florida were few, and their chief, Billy Bowlegs, wanted peace. He knew that the Indians could not win a war. The chief met with General David Twiggs, the commander of federal troops in Florida, and explained that the trouble had been caused by renegade Indians. He turned 3 of the warriors over to the general and presented him with the hand of a 4th who had been trying to escape. When news of the murders at the store became known, pioneer settlers in southern Florida fled their homes. Federal troops were rushed to Florida from as far away as Missouri as the government prepared for war. The U.S. force of 1,400 men outnumbered the number of Seminole warriors 5 to 1. And here's the site of the old fort. This is one of the vast number of temporary log forts built on the American frontier during the Indian Wars. The blockhouse was part of most frontier forts. There was one here.